Welcome, fellow history enthusiasts, to another gripping episode of Old West Legends. Today, we delve into the dusty pages of the Old West to unravel a saga that epitomizes the lawless frontier spirit, the Hatfield-Mccoy Feud. This harrowing tale of bloodshed, vengeance, and betrayal is etched into the annals of American history, revealing a dark chapter where families turned against each other, and the rugged hills of Appalachia bore witness to one of the most infamous feuds of the 19th century. So sit back and relax as we embark on a journey back in time to discover the shocking events that took place along the Tug Fork River, where the Hatfields and McCoys locked horns in a deadly dance that would leave an indelible mark on the landscape of the Old West. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Old West Legends channel. After that, leave a comment and let us know what other history topics you would like to hear about. Originating from the tumultuous era of the Civil War, the feud between the Hatfield and McCoy families took place in the Appalachian Mountains along the West Virginia-Kentucky border area between 1863 and 1891. This bitter clash not only seized the attention of the entire nation, but also fueled a cycle of animosity that spanned generations. The feud extended beyond mere family vendettas, drawing the intervention of law enforcement, governors, and even the hallowed halls of the Supreme Court. The Hatfields, hailing from West Virginia, were led by the formidable William Anderson, known as Devil Anne's Hatfield. Nestled on the West Virginia side of the Tug Fork, a tributary of the Big Sandy River in what is now Mingo County, formerly part of Logan County, Devil Anne's presided over a significant timbering operation. This enterprise, a fount of wealth for the Hatfield family, positioned them as a prosperous force in the region. Politically well-connected, the Hatfields' influence reached far and wide, setting the stage for the unfolding drama. Devil Anne's Hatfield's economic empire thrived, employing scores of men, including some of the McCoys. The McCoys, on the other hand, found themselves in a less affluent position compared to their Hatfield counterparts. This economic disparity would become a contributing factor to the escalating tensions, adding a volatile layer to the already complex web of animosity that would soon grip the region. The leadership of the McCoy family in Kentucky rested in the hands of Randolph, known as Ol' Ran'l McCoy. Their residence in Pike County, situated on the opposite side of the Tug Fork. The McCoys, while occupying a lower to middle-class status, possessed a 300-acre farm and livestock. Both the Hatfields and McCoys were involved in manufacturing and selling illegal moonshine and had complex kinship and social networks. Family loyalty was often determined by blood, employment, and proximity. During the Civil War, both factions aligned themselves with the Confederatas, with one notable exception. Asa Harmon McCoy, Randolph's brother, fought for the Union in Peake County Home Guards. Because of this, Asa was seen as a traitor by many people in the area, including members of his own family. William Devil Anne Hatfield and Randolph McCoy, however, served together in the Confederate Home Guards, known as the Logan Wildcats. The tensions escalated in the fall of 1863 when Union guerrilla attacks, orchestrated by William H. Francis Jr., Bill France, targeted the West Virginia side of the Tug River. In response, the Logan Wildcats, led by Devil Anne's Hatfield, surrounded Francis's home in Pike County, Kentucky, resulting in his death. Asa McCoy, a friend and neighbor of William Francis, returned home after being released early from the Army in December 1864 due to a broken leg. Warned by Jim Vance, the uncle of Devil Anne's Hatfield, Asa anticipated a visit from the Logan Wildcats. On January 7, 1865, as gunshots echoed while Asa drew water from his well, he sought refuge in a nearby cave. Despite his attempts to hide, the Wildcats tracked him down and fatally shot him. Devil Anne's Hatfield was a suspect at first, but was later confirmed to have been sick at home at the time of the murder. It was then widely believed that his uncle, Jim Vance, had committed the murder. In the aftermath, the relations between the Hatfields and McCoys took a nosedive. It came to a head again in 1878 when Randolph McCoy accused Floyd Hatfield, a cousin of Devil Anse, of stealing one of his pigs. The subsequent trial brought an ironic twist as Justice of the Peace Anderson, Preacher Anse, Hatfield, another cousin of Devil Anse, presided over the case. The hearing hinged on the testimony of one witness named Bill Statton, who testified in Floyd Hatfield's favor. When the charges against Floyd were dismissed, the McCoys were incensed. The simmering tensions erupted 2 years later when Bill Statton met a violent end in a clash with Sam and Paris McCoy, nephews of Randolph, on June 18, 1880. Sam faced trial for the murder, eventually securing acquittal on grounds of self-defense. Shortly thereafter, at a local election day gathering in 1880, the 18-year-old John Hatfield, Devil Anse's son, crossed paths with Rosanna McCoy, Randolph's daughter. The pair instantly hit it off and disappeared for hours with each other in the coming months. Because her father adamantly disapproved, Rosanna fled to West Virginia to be with Johnson. She was soon followed by a McCoy posse, who arrived at the Hatfield home and arrested Johnson on outstanding Kentucky bootlegging warrants. Devil Anse swiftly assembled a crew to intercept the McCoys, securing his son's release. Despite the rescue, the couple faced insurmountable opposition from both families, preventing their union. However, Rosanna suffered the consequences of her brief affair, giving birth to a daughter named Sarah Elizabeth McCoy in the spring of 1881. Meanwhile, Johns, having moved on, married Nancy McCoy, the daughter of Asa Harmon McCoy and Rosanna's cousin, in May 1881, further entangling the Hatfield-McCoy saga in a complex web of familial strife and forbidden love. After the tumultuous affair with Johns, Rosanna found herself ostracized by her father, who refused to acknowledge her or the baby. Her mother then arranged for Rosanna to live with her Aunt Betty in nearby Springville, Kentucky. Tragedy struck when baby Sarah succumbed to measles at the tender age of 8 months, plunging Rosanna into inconsolable grief. Her emotional wounds remained unhealed until her untimely death at the age of 29. This affair further soured the relationship between the two families, but it was far from over. On August 5, 1882, during another Election Day event in Kentucky, a violent altercation erupted between 3 of Randolph McCoy's sons, Tolbert, Farmer, and Bud, and 2 of Devil Anse's brothers. In the melee, one of the McCoy brothers stabbed Ellison Hatfield multiple times and then shot him in the back. The McCoys then fled but were soon apprehended by the authorities. However, the Hatfields intercepted the constables and took the McCoy brothers by force before they reached Pikeville. Transported to West Virginia, the McCoy brothers awaited the fate of the gravely wounded Ellison Hatfield. Upon Ellison's demise, the brothers were bound to pawpaw bushes and subjected to a barrage of 50 shots, a gruesome event that further fueled the feud. Subsequently, the authorities indicted 20 men, including Devil Anse and his sons, for the McCoy brothers' deaths. Despite the charges, the Hatfields managed to evade arrest, intensifying the McCoys' resentment and cementing the Hatfield-McCoy feud as one of the most notorious and enduring vendettas in American history. Their cause was taken up by Perry Cline, a lawman linked to the McCoy family through his marriage to Martha McCoy, the widow of Asa Harmon McCoy, Randolph's brother. Beyond familial ties, Cline harbored a personal grudge against Devil Anse, stemming from a past lawsuit in which he had lost thousands of acres of land to him. Leveraging his political connections, Cline offered rewards for the Hatfields' capture, including Devil Anse. In 1886, the feud claimed another victim when Jeff McCoy killed Fred Wolford, a mail carrier. Acting as the constable on the case, Cap Hatfield, alongside a companion named Tom Wallace, confronted McCoy on the banks of the Tug River. Tragically, Tom Wallace was later found dead in the spring of 1887. Seeking a decisive end to the feud, the Hatfields, led by Cap Hatfield and Jim Vance, surrounded and attacked the Randolph-McCoy home on January 1st, 1888. The house was set ablaze to flush out Randolph-McCoy, resulting in the tragic deaths of his son, Calvin, and daughter, Alifair. Sarah McCoy, Randolph's wife, endured a brutal beating, leaving her with a crushed skull as their home succumbed to flames. In the aftermath, the surviving McCoys sought refuge in Pikeville, Kentucky, fleeing the West Virginia raiding parties. Responding to what became known as the New Year's Massacre, Kentucky Governor Simon Buckner dispatched Special Officer Frank Phillips and 38 men to apprehend the nearly 20 Hatfield men, offering substantial rewards that attracted additional bounty hunters. Phillips and his posse successfully tracked down Jim Vance and Cap Hatfield on January 10, 1888. Vance, refusing arrest, met his end, prompting Phillips to conduct further raids on Hatfield homes and supporters, resulting in the capture of 3 more men. After the New Year's Massacre, Devil Anse Hatfield rallied the Hatfields for a final assault against the McCoys. Hearing of the impending conflict, Frank Phillips, determined to quell the violence, gathered every able man and commanded his army to stop them. On January 19th, Phillips intercepted the Hatfields on the West Virginia side of the Tug Fork River, engaging in a fierce exchange of gunfire in what became known as the Battle of Grapevine Creek. The Hatfields, under Devil Anse's leadership, suffered significant casualties, prompting a retreat. During the confrontation, 2 Hatfield supporters lost their lives, and Deputy Bill Dempsey was executed by Frank Phillips after surrender. Those who failed to escape were apprehended, marking the beginning of a prolonged legal saga. The Hatfield case unfolded in various courts, with the central issue revolving around the alleged illegal extradition of West Virginia men across state lines. Ultimately, the legal battle reached the U.S. Supreme Court, which ruled that the Hatfields held in Kentucky custody were eligible for trial. In 1889, the Hatfield prisoners faced trial for their involvement in the feud, particularly the murder of Randall McCoy's sons and one of his daughters during the New Year's Massacre. 8 Hatfields were convicted and sentenced to life in prison, with the exception of Cottontop Ellison Mounts, who received the death penalty for killing Randall McCoy's daughter, Alifair. Cottontop Ellison Mounts, afflicted with mental challenges, was widely regarded as a scapegoat despite confessing to his guilt. Despite the prohibition of public executions in Kentucky, a crowd of thousands gathered to witness his hanging on February 18, 1890. Mounts' final words reportedly implicated the Hatfields, asserting, "They made me do it. The Hatfields made me do it." Between 1880 and 1888, the bitter feud claimed over a dozen lives and left at least 10 wounded. The conflict escalated to the point where the governors of West Virginia and Kentucky considered mobilizing their militias to invade each other's states. The tension began to ease after Mounts' execution, although legal battles persisted until the final feud trial in 1901 involving Johns Hatfield. With the feud officially concluded, Randolph McCoy transitioned to a ferry operator's role, passing away in 1914 at the age of 88 from burns suffered in an accidental fire. He found his resting place in Dills Cemetery in Pikeville, Kentucky. Devil Anse Hatfield, who had long proclaimed his skepticism about religion, was born again and baptized for the first time at age 73. He went on to establish a Church of Christ congregation in West Virginia, passing away from pneumonia on January 6, 1921, at the age of 81. His final resting place is in the Hatfield family cemetery along West Virginia Route 44 in southern Logan County. The Hatfield-Mccoy Feud, deeply ingrained in American folklore, continued to captivate audiences through books, magazines, movies, and television programs. Tourists flocked to West Virginia and Kentucky, exploring the remaining historic sites from the feud era. In 1999, the Hatfield and McCoy Historic Site Restoration project was completed, culminating in the Hatfield-Mccoy Feud Driving Tour, a self-guided expedition featuring all feud-related sites in both states. Visitors receive a free Hatfield and McCoy driving tour brochure guiding them through each public feud site. As we conclude this journey into the dark and captivating tale of the Hatfield-McCoy feud in the Old West, we're left with a haunting legacy of blood, betrayal, and the relentless grip of a vendetta that echoed through the hills of Appalachia. The scars of this infamous feud ran deep, leaving an indelible mark on the history of the American frontier. Yet even in the aftermath of tragedy, the story takes unexpected turns, from legal battles to the redemption of Devil Anse Hatfield. Today, the feud lives on in the pages of history, recounted in books and movies, reminding us of a time when family honor clashed violently on the rugged landscape of the Old West. So what do you think about the notorious Hatfield-McCoy feud? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from Old West legends. Thanks a lot.